Question everything in pursuit of your purpose. Ask yourself, what if?
Everybody, thank you for joining us again for another episode of Pursuit of Purpose. I'm Robbie. This is Chuck. Today we have with us an amazingly special guest. I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell us a little bit about himself.
Well, my name's David Sheffield. I am from Silsbee, Texas, Hardin County, local here. And I grew up with a neuromuscular disorder. And I was very fortunate to get an education, go to college, go to law school, come back home, and serve out a 30-plus year as a criminal prosecutor in the county, an area that I grew up in. And now I'm retired and pursuing other things, mainly for fun.
Well, amazingly enough, I've known you a long time, and something that I've noticed about you, everywhere I've ever seen you and everything I've ever seen you doing, there's something you've carried with you everywhere you've been. Do you know what that is?
Wheelchair.
No, your smile. You're carrying it with you right now.
Yeah.
And it's one of your leading features. It's something that, believe it or not, I don't know if you know this, but you're known for it.
Well, didn't know that.
You actually bring this bright smile everywhere you've ever been. And for people like me who often get nervous in a legal situation, regardless of the reason for being there, that smile is comforting. So thank you for that, for all the years of your service with the smile.
I love smiles. I love humor. I love comedy. I'd rather involve myself in that than spewing hate or gossip or torment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go back to something that you started with in your synopsis of your life. You started in Silsbee. This is where you were born, or where you lived when you were born. So would you call yourself a Silsbilly?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I did a little time in Silsbee myself, so I wouldn't categorize myself as a Silsbilly, but I know a lot of y'all. You know what I mean? And I love some of you. You know, not all, but some of you. Yeah. But so you wouldn't call yourself a Silsbilly?
Oh, I would.
Okay, very good. You own it. That's good. That's good. That's good. So tell me about your childhood. You were born. What hospital were you born in? Here in.
Oh, I was born in Tyler County.
Oh.
Hospital.
Okay.
You know, and I'm 61 now.
Okay.
And anyway, that's where my grandparents lived. And born there, lived in Beaumont until I was in about the 5th grade.
Okay.
We moved up to Silsbee, Hardin County.
Okay.
You know, I was always weaker than normal. By the time I was in the 6th or 7th grade, my body had grown to the point where I had to go into the wheelchair and stop walking. So, as a part of all that, became associated with the Muscular Dystrophy Association quite a bit, and spent many years working with them in various capacities all throughout the organization.
That's amazing. So you've been able to take your, what other people would call an affliction, I call it a difference. You've been able to take your difference and cause it to serve not only yourself but everybody else you could touch with it.
Being born this way was my normal.
Right.
It wasn't something that was taken away from me.
Right.
So I had an advantage for that. It wasn't some big catastrophic change.
Right.
All at once. So I grew up this way. But somewhere, I guess I read something somewhere. So the essence of genius was to take a negative and turn it into a positive. That it's a matter of attitude. And so, fortunately, that enlightenment that I received many, many years ago gave me an angle to view things and to not look at negatives or why you can't do something, but why you could turn it around and make it work for you.
Absolutely.
It's brilliant.
Well, since you mentioned enlightenment, I'd like to get your take on something or get your input about something. You know, people who would be considered typical, physically typical, or even mentally typical, oftentimes when they see someone with a difference, they somehow internally feel pity, or they feel uncomfortable, or they have these, they don't know how to act, or they don't know how to feel. How would you comfort them? What would you tell them about that? How to feel?
First of all, that reaction is normal.
Yes.
I mean, and people who are disabled, you know, we have to admit that's normal because we have those same reactions when we meet somebody that's disabled. What kind of attitude do they have? Are they a defeatist or are they positive?
Yes.
Just like anybody else. So that's normal. Because secondly, you know, having the ability to use self-deprecating humor about yourself and about your situation puts somebody at ease
Yeah.
and comfort and makes them comfortable with you.
Yeah.
And that goes with whether or not you're disabled or not, but in particular, if you are disabled. If you can make fun or crack a joke about it, call yourself a cripple, or
Not quite a stand-up
Well,
comedian.
yeah, well,
There you go.
exactly.
See? Yeah.
yeah. And, but if you can do that, that puts people at ease. They can open up, and then they can look at the other attributes,
Yeah.
the other things that you bring to the table.
They can see who you really are.
Get rid of the big gorilla in the room.
Right. Right.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So you moved to Silsbee in or about the 5th grade or a little after that.
Yeah.
Who raised you?
Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad. Did you live in your family home? Did you grow up mom and dad all the way through?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, I'm still fortunate to have them. They're having their 65th anniversary.
Come on.
Wow, that is the 3rd anniversary I've heard of today.
Yeah.
60+ year anniversary.
Really?
3 different couples that I've come across today
That's awesome.
with 60+ years of marriage.
That's phenomenal.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's-
It is.
Unbelievable, almost.
Even it's getting to be a little unprecedented.
Yes.
So how
Yes.
about them? Are you an only, or do you have siblings?
I have a sister.
Okay.
She's 2 years younger, and she's completely physically normal.
Okay.
So, you know, but she's a sister, so she's abnormal.
Right, of course she is. Of course. Now I'm curious, since you brought that up, how did that work with the typical sibling rivalry stuff that, like, I have siblings and I have a lot of kids, and you know, I'm just curious, did she treat you typically like any other sister would, do you think?
Just normal.
Yeah.
This is normal. Like I said before, me being, that's all, the way I am is all she knew. And so there's no difference.
So y'all are only 2 years apart.
Yeah.
My sister and I are 3 years apart. So there's a lot of similarity in the age gap. Did y'all ride in the back seat and fight, like, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Did you ever fight over the middle seat belt that was between you, or did you ever whack each other with it? I mean, I did that, or at least I've heard of people that did that.
Oh yeah, well, see how my head is bent?
Yeah, and she did that to you? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. My sister, bless her heart, and she would do things to me to provoke me in the back seat, and then, you know, she was younger, much like your experience, and then she would take her hand and do like this on her arm and make it bright red, and then she'd cry to my mom and dad, who were sitting up in the front seat, "Look what he did to me," and you know, show them the red mark on her arm. Yep. And then you know what happened, because corporal punishment was in style back then. I mean, it wasn't just acceptable, it was, if you didn't do that, you weren't a parent. Right?
Yeah, it made us better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So exactly. So I'm really curious. At what age?
Starting to explain a lot, Rob.
Exactly.
Things are making sense, right?
We didn't know that he was coming here to therapize.
I know. We're getting this great brand new picture of Robbie's life.
Tell me your plan.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot there, Dave. That's a lot to unpack. But at what age did you decide I want to be a lawyer?
The story about that is I had the luxury of knowing a little bit about the progression of my disease. And I went to summer camps with other kids.
That were afflicted with the same? Okay.
And I noticed and watched, and I was able to see what happened. And I knew I was going to have to get into a profession that I could make money to support myself. Mom and Dad wasn't going to always be able to care for me. And I was going to take a lot of money. Transportation, wheelchairs, medical equipment.
Specialized house, all of that.
And then, of course, at the same time, I was reading about our family fathers. And so many of them were lawyers and attorneys.
Okay.
Right, the writings of the Constitution, Declaration of Independence. You know, and I admired the genius that went into all that. So I knew that was a road I wanted to go down because it had my interest. And that kind of married with my need to be able to be self-sufficient, to be self-employed. I didn't want to have my fate in the hands of anyone to employ or follow me.
Self-determined.
And I wanted to have my hands on the steering wheel
Absolutely.
as much as
Right.
possible.
Right.
And I felt like if I gathered the techniques, the education, and everything, that would make me valuable
Yeah.
to someone, that would ensure my ability to succeed.
I'm hearing a whole lot of just that inner fire. You know, I want to be my own, you know, whatever we don't call it, my own driver. You know, my own ambitions, and then looking for just that that best, most possible way to make that happen. And obviously, law became very attractive.
Yes.
You know, so do you finish at Silsbee High School?
Yes.
And then I presume it was off to some college campus somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was next for you?
Well, it's kind of we didn't know exactly what kind of neuromuscular disease I had. Most kids didn't live past 15.
Oh.
And I didn't know whether or not that was going to be my fate or not. But,
Was that scary for you?
yes, it was.
Yeah.
And so, but I said, what the heck, Mom and Dad got me in school. Many kids that had that weren't in school because of accessibility issues, because of life limitations and everything. But they fought to keep me in school, stayed in school. And then I just kind of had that dream of what I wanted to do and just kind of stayed on that path. Yeah, so I ended up going to Lamar. I wanted to study accounting because accounting was a backup plan. If I didn't get to law school, or if I wasn't going to succeed, there was some value in understanding, knowing business, understanding the books, and having a valuable, you know, education in an area in which you could really, you know, be employed if you had to be employed. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
whatever. So anyway, so I went to Lamar, and for some reason, I didn't die. I had a lot of fun.
Well, we're glad for that.
You know, and I kept looking around, and I hadn't died yet.
No.
So I said, after I graduated, I said, Dad, I think I'm going to law school. And then I had this plan pretty good. I looked at all the brochures and pictures, and Ole Miss had the most beautiful ladies around here. So I thought I could be very comfortable.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I decided to go to Ole Miss. And it was a great experience there. And graduated, and then I came home, and I was kind of at a loss, you know. I didn't die when I was up there.
Still haven't.
Still hadn't died.
Nope.
You know.
It's good to make it this far through the story, and he hasn't died.
And he hasn't died. That's
It's
right.
It's
But I'm
important.
saying, you know, you're going to die.
Yeah.
You're going to die.
That's positive. Like, that's really uplifting message to send you. Yeah.
That was my diagnosis. So anyway, so I came home and still hadn't died.
At least they kept it simple.
Yeah, and I thought, you know what? I thought what would be great would go to become a tax lawyer. So I had,
So you were going to mix the two.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the best tax school was in Miami, Florida.
Lots of hot ladies there, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, in bathing suits and everything. There you go.
So I said, Dad, what about going to tax school, you know, East Coast? Wait a minute. You got a law degree and you got a accounting degree. He says, it was the worst day of my life. He says, have you ever thought about getting a job?
You know, job and die both have 3 letters.
Yes.
And the results to many people feel the same.
Not wasted on the trilogy. That's right.
I told Dad, I said, but I'm going to die.
Come on, Dad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Just keep me comfortable.
That keep me comfortable.
This is palliative care.
That's right.
Just let me go to Miami and you know.
It's out on hospice care, see?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm on a record. I've been on hospice care for 48 years. Yeah.
That's an amazing testimony to that hospice provider. That's
I keep saying I'm going to die.
Yes.
I'm going to die.
Yes. Yes. It keeps you eligible.
So just keep me comfortable.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. That death could happen anytime. That's your eligibility, man.
I mean,
Every time you have to re-up, you're like, y'all know this could happen.
I've got a question about a reaction because there was a moment there in your life. You know, I'm a parent and I've got kids, and you've seen all this take place. You tell your dad, I want to go to law school. That first time, what were their reactions?
I think they knew. Because I thought about it early on,
Okay.
and I had mentioned it. You know, so I don't think that came as a big surprise.
Okay.
Uh,
They were supportive.
They're very supportive. They help make it happen. You see, and so honestly, without all their help and support, I wouldn't be much of anything except biological matter in a nursing home.
Oh.
You know, I mean, but they made it happen and supported me.
That's awesome.
I'm going to challenge you with this. I mean, I don't know if anybody said this way, but I would bet that because of your ambition and drive, you inspired them to do these things. I am certain that somewhere throughout this, even though you say you wouldn't be anything without them, they also wouldn't be where they are without you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just that story, as simple as you may think it is, it's enormously inspiring. And
Well, I tested that at times.
and I have to believe that they let you fail at times so that you learn the value of your accomplishments,
Oh yes.
because you have a great respect for the value of failure and accomplishments.
I think they raised me as normal as possible.
Yes. I agree. I think that has to be the case.
Disability wasn't an excuse, wasn't a reason. And it was something to manage,
Yeah.
something to be real about. That's for sure. You know, give up the dream of being a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. you know, it ain't gonna happen.
Well, the problem is that with that they're limited to exposure for just the cheerleaders. You got to go to Ole Miss, and then did you go to Miami?
No,
Did you wind up going there? No, you did not.
I had to get a job.
He stuck to his guns
Yeah.
about that.
Evidently, he meant that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let go of it real quick.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
So go ahead.
I do appreciate your folks though, because through the years, all of us we've met lots of folks who have children who have various disabilities and such, and I appreciate the parents who heed the advice that evidently your parents either got or figured out quickly, like to give this young man or woman the best chance at a future. We're going to raise them without exception. Like if it's discipline, it's coming. And I evidently, that's you probably, if you look among folks that you've met through your time with MDA and other affiliations, you could see the ones who did have that kind of parenting and the ones who didn't. And sadly, probably the ones who didn't struggled more.
It made a big difference. The way they raised me. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I do have to say, my mind was so curious that I did not want to be sheltered.
Yes.
And I wanted to know anything and everything I could know. So that kept me from slinking back into a protective cocoon.
Something amazing that I've noticed about you, from knowing you, but also from the way you've spoken, is there's something missing from your story.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating thing, and it's entitlement.
Yeah.
You don't have anything about you that says that you are entitled to anything.
I don't believe in that.
And I don't either. I think it's amazing, though, because so many people that are typical in physical ability, mental ability, they come up somehow in our society. We have this plague of entitlement belief systems, and you came up with a less than or different than typical physical ability, but you compensated for that with your mental ability, and you never adopted and adapted to a belief system of entitlement. And your parents get a lot of credit for that, but so do you.
Well, it's just, honestly, it's just foreign. I think my success or failure is going to be up to either route to take to try to ensure that.
Right.
And I stuck anything that I think anyone should have given me. It wouldn't be as valuable as it is now. Now, the other side is, growing up and going to school and graduating and what have you. By the time I came back home, I found a wife. And so.
Wow, you microwaved the family right quick, didn't you?
That's right.
That's nice.
I adopted my daughter, and 2 weeks later, I sent her to Ole Miss.
Wow.
So, I had a kid, and 2 weeks later, I sent her to college.
Oh,
So,
man.
in what pond were you fishing when you caught her?
Very, very small pond.
Okay.
Silsby.
Okay.
We kept running into each other, and her name is Joyce. And she was a dentist. And she is a dentist. Works here at Silsby. So we just
The smile.
The smile.
The smile. That's where it came
There
from.
you go.
Okay, keep going. I'm sorry.
beans. I think she appreciated that too. So,
I love it.
anyway,
Yeah,
So, how'd you meet her originally? The first time y'all met?
we went to a JC Junior Chamber of Commerce party. She was part of that, and I was just part of it, just passing through, and just kind of, and then we ran into each other at the bank, and she kept smiling at me. So I said, hey, I might have a chance. So anyway, then ran into her at a restaurant, but Silsby small. And so,
Yes.
So anyway, my best friend left town, and I didn't have anything to do, so I called her up, and yeah, I was surprised too. Yeah, she went out with me.
You You had some courage about that. So
Yes.
I'm gonna be a little bit nosy, and this is a little unusual, something I don't get to ask too much about. What was your dating life like up to that point? Did you have much of a dating life? How did you feel about that type of an adventure?
I didn't get a driver's license and a vehicle to drive until after I graduated college,
Okay.
which probably allowed me to graduate college.
Right. Less distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, it would have been a van, and I might have had kids to support. And,
The van's very conducive of
yeah, not having that, that's good.
Yes.
So anyway, I didn't have much of a dating life in high school or college. Law school, I was pretty much focused on the study, and so I really didn't. Because when I came back home, I went, wow, I left all my dating material at college. and so, anyway, I think we just got lucky and fortunate to find each other.
Absolutely.
what year were y'all married?
91,
91.
33rd anniversary.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Congratulations.
Yes.
That's amazing. So she's put up with you
Yeah,
for this long. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is she still working?
She's pretty much retired.
Okay.
She still owns her practice,
Okay.
but she's not really working. So we're enjoying being at home.
Good. And your daughter?
And she runs the contingent office.
Okay.
So she got a master's in accounting, and so she came back home and did that. So we're all still pretty close.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Silsby just draws them back in, doesn't it?
I mean, boomerang.
Yeah. Oh, you can't get away from your what'd you call it? Silsbilly?
Silsbillies.
Yeah.
You can take them out of Silsbilly, Silsby, but the Silsbilly will always be there.
Always.
Not get rid of us. We don't know where else to go.
That's right. That's right. Nowhere else feels like home.
Right.
Well, that's amazing. 33 years. That's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna give your parents a run for their money. Ooh.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you also learn to fly a plane?
No.
Or you had she flew the plane?
She flew.
Okay.
She was a pilot.
Okay.
And so, we did that for a while.
Okay.
And
I knew y'all flew. I didn't know.
yeah, but we've kind of gotten out of that.
Okay.
Traveling kind of become a little difficult and such, what have you. But that was fun. It was good.
Yeah.
Enjoyed that too.
So, when you guys decided to get married, was there anything that y'all pretty open, I guess, about everything? Was there anything that she had to learn to help you, so that y'all could live your life and be together? And
At the time, I was still using an iron lung every night.
wow.
So my breathing difficulties back when I was in high school required that I go into it at night to ventilate. And so, we had to make some provisions and learn about getting in and out of that and such. But shortly after we were married, the CPAP
Yeah, that's right.
came along, and they provided enough ventilation so that I could use that instead.
Is that something you still have to use to this day on a nightly? Okay.
Laying down at night, I don't ventilate,
Okay.
unless I have support.
So up until this point,
Yeah.
we've gotten you through college, we've gotten you married, we've gotten your family. You stuck them in the microwave like a batch of ramen noodles, and there you are.
Yeah.
You've got a wife and a daughter.
That's it.
So, what was your first practice, or how did you enter into the working world? Your dad made you get a job, obviously, but that wasn't your career necessarily. You moved into your career. What was that like?
I did try to find a job,
Okay.
but I was not your cookie cutter looking attorney.
You don't mean it.
No. And I did finish going to top half my class in law school, but I just didn't have. I had more questions when somebody would see me, so I didn't make it into any law firm. So I was prepared for that. I put my own shingle out, started my own law practice,
What'd you specialize in?
just general law,
Okay.
because it was in Silsby. And, was doing divorces, criminal work, wills, probate, stuff like that.
Whatever walked in the door.
And it was going good. And then the DA's office had an opening for an assistant DA, and Mr. R.F. Walker hired me. And I worked for him for 3 years until I became county attorney.
It only took you 3 years.
That's it.
That's actually pretty fast,
Yeah.
in my opinion, which, as worthless as it may be, that seems pretty quick.
Well,
How old were you?
I was, I got out of law school in 88. I got licensed in Texas in 89. That's another story. But so I was licensed in Mississippi, in Texas, and then started working in May of 89.
Okay.
Worked for him in 1990. And was there for 3 years. Now, I was like 27, 28. Then I didn't know any better. I started trying felony cases, and hey, my brother was helping me, teaching me, and we started winning cases, and I thought it was easy.
Well, that's a whole different type of law than what you were practicing back in Silsby.
Yeah.
I mean, did you enjoy the aggressive, what it took to do that?
I
And
always enjoy learning.
did you enjoy the trial part of it, the being in the courtroom and all that?
I enjoyed all of it. I enjoyed the preparation, the pressure, having to think.
Having somebody else's life in your hands.
I always enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed thinking that I was making a contribution.
Making a difference.
I could see that, to me, that gave value to myself and to what I was trying to do.
You brought value to your community.
Right. I've met a lot of attorneys through the years, and a lot of them kind of have similar stories. They start out in a variety of various divisions of law, but they settle on the one that they feel like they just kind of fell into, and probably were led in a certain way into the one to say, this is it. This is the one. I really didn't enjoy the other ones as much as I found the one. Would you say your story was similar?
Yes, because of my accounting background, I really did think I was going to be a tax attorney. But by the time I was in my last year of law school, I had an epiphany. I said, you idiot. I said, you're going to go back to Silsby, Texas. I said, you're not going to make money as a tax lawyer filling out 1040 EZs.
Right.
So I said, all right, let's do criminal. Let's do divorce. Let's do property, oil and gas. Let's do all that.
That's where the money is in that community.
This one's going to put this.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
It's another amazing thing that you're an example of. How many people that you probably know, and I know we know, that went to school and got an accounting degree, and their career path ends with nothing to do with accounting, but the degree was the foundation for their start, and
Well, I enjoy business, and I enjoy knowing about business and economics and all that. So I enjoy learning about that. So, and of course, law touches every aspect of life.
certainly does.
Everything. Yeah.
I love something you said about yourself, that you were curious.
Yes.
That is something we espouse, and we endeavor to teach people how to think in terms of curiosity.
Yes.
Because if you can stay curious, you stay away from being judgmental. and you constantly open yourself up to being a learner,
Yeah.
a lifelong learner.
You never can close your mind.
That's right.
And when the internet came along, I really enjoyed learning as much as I could about that. So I started writing web pages, HTML,
Really?
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Okay.
And I had a website, Salisbury.com, at one time.
Okay.
And it had all kind of stuff with it. And then now, with my time now, I've been delving into AI, learning about these AI search engines.
Yeah.
Isn't it fascinating?
Such. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's opening up a whole new world.
It really is.
And so, and it's got so many practical applications to things. And so, and right now, since I'm retired, I've gotten into real estate a little bit.
Okay.
And I've always had an interest in the stock market. So I had investments in there, investment in real estate.
So you really haven't stopped working.
No, you haven't retired. You just reinvented yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, but it keeps me active. It
Absolutely.
keeps me exploring.
Right.
It keeps me excited. You know, being excited about things is very important.
Yes.
Seeking new conquests.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got a question for you,
Yeah.
and it goes back to your courtroom days. Okay, so you were county attorney, you were prosecuting people, then you did that for 16 years, and then you were DA for 12 years. You got into politics,
Yeah.
which politics is, you know, it ain't great. It is what it is. It's our system.
It's rough and tumble.
But in a county like Hardin County, you know as well as anyone, it gets ugly.
Yeah.
But in the courtroom, there's a lot of politics involved in that. The big show, you're in there doing your thing. I'm going to ask you a crazy question. It's a perspective question.
Sure.
Did you, in your career as an attorney in the courtroom, ever realize an advantage from your perspective, from your place in that chair, and your position and your physical difference? Did it ever give you an advantage over your opponent?
In several ways. Many smart people have really big egos. And if I could ever get the other side to underestimate me,
Yes.
I was able to take advantage of that.
Or to pity you.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, I hate being pitied.
Yes, of course you do. Like, why wouldn't you?
But I would play along to have someone underestimate, to relax, to not work as hard.
Yeah.
So, but more importantly, the wheelchair caused juries to pay more attention to me. You know?
Makes sense.
I was different. And in my presentations, I wasn't afraid to be different. I didn't have to mimic the voir dire examination
Right?
of other attorneys to feel comfortable.
Right.
I had my own. I would crack jokes about my wheelchair.
That's amazing because you learned that early in life.
Yeah.
Well, I
How to own your difference.
never had a peer group, right? So I was my own. So I didn't have to try to fit in.
To impress any particular group of
I
people.
didn't have to worry about fitting in.
Going with the flow. You had your own flow no matter what happened.
Yeah, and so that kind of helped expand your mind right there to not get into cookie cutter situations. Cookie cutter situations they're not going to help you.
No, not at all.
But if you're smart, you can explore and do different angles. Now, humor is also a good weapon in the courtroom because you can turn an issue on its head by pointing out the ridiculousness of it, of an argument.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right.
and such. So that, but also my way I moved in the courtroom, I didn't ever get behind a podium. I wasn't going to be standard cookie cutter. I would roll around everywhere.
You could get away with things that.
People would follow me.
Yeah.
And pay attention.
Love it.
And so it's like, take advantage of what you have.
Right.
And be yourself.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to laugh about yourself. That's where you get other people to laugh with you and not at you.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Two quick things.
Yeah.
When we first started this interview, and you were able to even tell our audience, that you are a soft-spoken person. Were a lot of your presentations like that as well? So people would have to strain to hear and lean in and listen.
Yes. Yes. And I fought that the whole time. I tried to speak up and speak loud and such, but speaking softly did require them to put more effort into listening and understanding what I said.
Yes.
And so that held their attention too.
Yeah. Yet another advantage of a possible disadvantage.
Right.
Look at you. All right.
But you have to think outside the box.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, even though we're discussing just amongst us men here, but we're also speaking to an audience, I want to go back just a step to that promotion you seem to have just made about embracing your individuality.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, whether it's a certain genetic or whatever it is, it is an advantage if you can see it as just the beauty in its individuality, and you seem to address that.
Well, being individualistic makes you more genuine too. And whether you're a preacher or an attorney, if you come off and you're genuine and you believe what you're saying, other people will believe it.
Yes.
But if you're just repeating stuff you've read or styles that you copied, it doesn't work.
No.
You're not genuine.
No.
Nobody's gonna internalize what you say. They may hear it, but they're not gonna believe it. So.
Well, it's amazing, like listening to you talk, and I know you're not doing this on purpose, but I find myself wanting to be closer to you, wanting to like listen harder. And it's not that you're speaking too soft for me to hear you, but there's something about your personality, your demeanor, your persona in general that does draw people in, and that is huge. I think it's a part of your genuine nature that's very magnetic.
Well, I didn't get very far not being genuine.
Right.
And I tried that.
Yeah.
And I never got a date that way.
No.
Well, I think you'd be considered a great success with 33 years of marriage under your belt, and
It's not all because of me.
no, that takes both of you. It takes
And
yes.
And my family. And such, I had every advantage that you could give me.
So I'm going to ask a question a little bit off of the current topic. What's your sister doing now?
My sister is working for insurance underwriters in Houston.
Okay.
She's had several different type jobs and things and what have you, but risk analysis.
Oh yeah.
And,
So your parents successfully raised two intellectuals. That's pretty impressive.
I don't know if you'd call me an intellectual.
I would. I think you're very creative and intellectual.
I think it's the curiosity that
time.
makes you that.
Yeah.
I'm more closely associated with a buffoon.
Oh, get out of here with that stuff. So, do you consider yourself a success?
Just by the just the fact that I've had the opportunity to live as long as I have, that's a success. So, success is measured so many different ways.
Absolutely.
So
It's a very subjective question. That's why I ask it of every guest we have. I want to hear.
I think if you ask me if I'm happy, I'm ecstatic, and I think that's the answer to that. I've done what I've wanted to do, what I've set out to do, and it had none of it was promised to me. None of it seemed very lofty throughout, but it happened. And so I've been very fortunate, and, and I'm very grateful for that because I grew up with a whole bunch of kids and people who never ever got close to having an opportunity to do what I could do. And many of them were just smart and smarter than myself. And, and it would be terrible if I wasn't grateful and acknowledge, how fortunate I am.
Well, if you had to put into words, what would you say is your greatest accomplishment thus far? Thus far. Not that, let's go beyond the I'm not dead yet one. So that one's definitely top five at least. But let's go beyond that one.
I think being able to have a family, a wife, being able to support them, take care of them, and to be able to help my parents get back just a little of what they've given to me. I'm not talking financially, just support and help.
So you've been able to flip the game a little bit.
We all have to do
Yes, I totally agree.
if we and our parents live on.
Yeah.
But so my greatest success is being able to do that, get back to the community a little bit of what I've done. So,
Do you have, if you could put into your own words, what would you say is your legacy? Because you have touched our community, the Southeast Texas community, in a big way. Not just the Sillsbillies, but you've actually gotten to, Hardin County. You have served the whole county in your legal capacity, and you did that with a mission. So, what would you say would be your legacy? That's a big question.
I think my legacy is really up to everybody else because I think everybody else defines your legacy. And you don't have the luxury of defining your own legacy. But hopefully it would be that I did the best I could with what I had to work with, and I made things better, and I was able to contribute.
Well, let me ask it a different way.
Yeah.
When the time comes, and it'll come for all of us, when we leave this, whatever, life, frequency, whatever we want to be, this existence, when we move on, what do you want? What message would you leave behind? If you could leave something to people who follow, what would you tell them?
Well, don't take yourself seriously.
I like that.
Try to be kind to others. Make people laugh. Try to exploit the good things in life and minimize the bad.
And I asked that question specifically because you are a man who has lived your life being told constantly that you're going to die. So I just thought that you would have a great perspective, and you did, about that.
Well, I did what I had to do.
You did more than you had to do, David.
And the thing is, people say, "Oh, I can't believe how brave you are." Well, you know what? Fear is also a great motivator.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
fear
It can be.
Fear of not being able to do all the things I just laid out there gave me motivation to do it. And let me tell you, talk about politics, and all that. And let me tell you, those sons of guns that wanted me dead were probably why I stayed alive.
And those are some very gentle words he's using, the sons of guns, quotation mark there. So I'm going to ask you a funny little series of questions here. if you had any advice to give to younger people who are contemplating going into a career like yours, an attorney, and then maybe even considering going into politics, as insanity would require, I think, a little bit of that there. But would you have any advice for somebody like that in those fields?
Know yourself, be honest with yourself and your capabilities. You know, however, don't let anybody define your limits except yourself, which is good as long as you're honest with yourself
Right.
about what you can do and can't do. Don't let other people define you. Always be curious. Keep your mind working. Learn as much as you can about things. And yeah, take any negative and don't let it hold you back. Just let it make you look at things in a different way or different perspective.
Find the opportunity behind every negative. Yeah. That's amazing. That's profound advice.
Very.
Oh, and you're going to die.
That's right.
You know, I mean, you're going to die.
Yeah, just keep it comfortable.
Yeah.
Keep it comfortable.
Have fun getting there, you know, right?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, man.
That's right. No, brilliant response. That's Robbie and I do a lot of work with young people when we can, and so that's why we kind of like to end our shows with most everybody we've had has all been older and experienced, and so to look back and to say, if I was looking at my teenage self, so that could have been more brilliant. But I want to say in just closing remarks, beyond just thank you for being our guest, thank you for being someone who followed their curiosity, fulfilled it in not just personal but professional ways, and then saw that to some great fruition. And you got to influence just a whole community of people, really all over the world, because we talked a little bit about what you've done with the MDA and other organizations to just do your best to make a difference. And it's the difference makers that count, really, tremendously. So thank you. Thank you for being a man of such courage.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't ignore him. It's my neck.
Oh,
I have a curvature.
I got you. You're perfect. No, you did great. Thank you.
So I've got one last question that I want to ask you. I ask every guest this in closing. If you could go back in time and give yourself some profound advice, you know, they say hindsight's 20/20. If you could go back and whisper in your own ear, what might you say to yourself? Not that you could change your trajectory or anything like that, but you could give yourself some advice that would help make a difference to your younger self. Say it about, I don't know, 18, 19 years old.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. What might you say if you could whisper in your own ear?
I'm thinking he's thinking of brochures of all this at this point.
Miami, probably.
I would go back and say, hey, bud, you're on the right track. Just keep cool. Keep cool. You're on the right track.
Stay calm and keep going.
And keep going. You know, don't give up.
Right.
Which I never did, but I would just reassure myself that because hey, it was a big question all throughout. You know, wasn't until I was in my 30s, I don't think that the fact that you're gonna die was gonna joke.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty good. And I'm going to tell you this. I'll put a second on what Chuck told you, but also you stayed a man of integrity. And the amazing thing is, when you described yourself, you were a kid who had an enormous amount of integrity that grew into a man who even practiced integrity with greater commitment. And I believe that's what's lended itself to your success in the greatest way and supported your ambitions, is that you stayed, as you said, true to yourself, and you stayed a man with integrity. And that's amazing to me.
One thing that helps that is not being afraid. You know, after you overcome the fear of death, there's no threat.
What else is there?
There's no threat anybody can make to you.
That's right.
You know, and having a law degree, if I didn't get reelected, you know, I said, what the heck? I can try cases.
They can't take away your degree.
Can't do that. And so, when that kind of, you have that perspective, then you kind of say, I don't care how much pressure you put on me. You know, I'm going to do what I want to do. And so, but you know, just don't knuckle into people trying to pressure you. So I mean, that's what helps maintain integrity. Is not worried about what the folks can do to you.
Right.
Yeah. Don't buy into the fear.
You know, a few decades after my mother's father lost his oldest son in World War II, me and my cousins were sitting on the porch, and it's one of those sunset moments. It's quiet. You hear the you know, all the locusts up in the trees and whatever. And he turned to us and he says, "Boys, I'm going to tell y'all something." And of course, that's that wisdom. We all leaned in, and he said, "This world can take away so much, but it can never take away what you know."
Yeah.
And I remember that. I was probably about 11 at the time, but I could not forget that phrase. So that's kind of what I hear you saying, man. You know, once I realized what this world can take from me, that fear's gone. Now just go.
I think people lose their integrity when their fear takes them.
Yes. When they believe the fear
Yeah.
and they start acting on the fear,
Yeah.
they sacrifice their integrity.
And they react to intimidation and pressure.
Yeah.
That's so true. Well, you have you've given a lot to our audience. You've given a lot to me. I'm sure you've given a lot to Chuck. I really appreciate the time and the energy it's taken for you to come down here and participate with us.
I admire you very much, my friend.
I admire you, David.
You and your wife, you know, your kid.
Yeah, if you want to borrow any, just let me know. I know y'all are bored now. Y'all are empty nesters. We have plenty we can loan you. We find them all over the place oftentimes and just end up with extras at the house.
That's why I'm never going to mention it to my wife. She would take you out.
So, as I'm saying, you have practiced the art of the closing argument. So have you any closing remarks you'd like to offer? If there's anything, no pressure, you don't have to, but if there's anything you'd like to say in closing, now's your time. You have the floor.
Yeah, have fun, enjoy your life, be curious, and don't worry about what anybody says, because everybody's going to say everything.
Or don't worry about what they think either.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who cares?
That's good. That's
It is.
profound stuff.
Yeah, make a joke out of it.
Exactly. And if you need backup, there is a group known as the Wheelchair Mafia.
That's right.
You can find them on Facebook. This is the president.
And we will mess you up.
Run over your toes like nobody's business. Look out.
Make bumps.
Well, everybody out there, thank you guys again for joining us. This is
Chuck.
And I'm Robbie. And we have with us today David, yeah, and he didn't die. And thank you guys for allowing us the opportunity to become a part of the pursuit of your purpose. Y'all have a great day.